Welcome to the Go Team Live podcast. My name is Peter Schupp, and I am your host of this wide-ranging conversation with our guest, Kerry Christie, on the posing topic, the meaning of life. Now, we do have this rollicking conversation about life and times of Kerry, and it is such a vibe to be able to come together with the community and really bounce off each other. And what I find is that we have more things in common than we ever do differences. So there is so much to learn from our audience, from our guests, and just from our experience of participating and listening in on our journey in self-development, personal development, and there is always a return on investment when you dip your toe into what is going to happen in this podcast. And I welcome you to join in a future episode. And if you're listening to this on record, I'm so happy to have you, and I hope you get something out of it. Now, this does have a trigger warning. So if you've yourself witnessed or suffered domestic abuse, this may bring some of those feelings back to you. And my heart goes out to you, and I want you to be safe. I want you to look after yourself first and foremost. So choose wisely whether you're going to go down this rabbit hole and whether that has potential healing in this community gathering for you, or if that challenge and that feeling is hard for you to shake. So, yeah, look after yourself first, and we would love to have you in our community in future to experience what the potential is here for the learning opportunities with our community. Go Team Live is brought to you, powered by GAIM ON. Go in the Go Team Live is an acronym for GAIM ON. I am a lover of acronyms because it keeps life simple. The GAIM ON app is the place where you can start your day and take the simplest steps for a power-packed potential in creating a win for your day. It's a journaling system that you can share with your friends, family, work colleagues, community groups. And it is the simple journaling system where you answer the question to G, what am I grateful for? A, awareness for how I'm feeling. I, setting your intention for the day. M, a mindful moment. And O-N, organizing non-doing. And all of these steps together create a power-packed system of wellness. Now, download the app, take the first step, and enter your first journal entry and be part of this fantastic movement. The scientific benefits are proven that it will help you reduce stress, anxiety, negative thoughts and emotions, while gaining life satisfaction and connection and a better relationship with yourself and others and an emotional intelligence. All of these things are so valuable, and they're rife in the community. And we really need to start doing the work to help right this ship. And this is provided to you for free, for use. And I encourage you to get around it, get behind it, and go get your game on. It is time to find your way to win the day. It is time for the Go Team Live podcast with Kerry Christie. I hope you enjoy and would love to hear from you. Leave your comments and share it with your friends. All right. Love your work. Go team. All right, welcome to the Go Team Live, our community gathering for the GAIM ON app. And what we're all about here is asking quality questions to create a quality of our life, just by digging and uncovering information or perspectives or something that makes you think for longer than you naturally would for just a regular old question. This one, we're going to go deep. We're going to delve in and see where this Go Team live session takes us. We have Kerry Christie with us, and it is so fantastic to have her on site so we can connect and drink our cacao and have a laugh and just really enjoy the potential we have in making friends and figuring out what Kerry Christie has for us today. So how are you today, Kerry?
Great. I'm really well, thank you. Had a good day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As we do, we create our days as best we can in this. Kerry is very much a wellness expert. Is expert okay with you?
I quite like expert.
Yeah, expert. Yeah. Kerry is a kinesiologist. I loved when she gave me her email. It was Zumba with Kerry G. She's a fitness instructor. She takes nutrition workshops, self-love workshops, and retreats, and even into Ninja Academy and a handstand enthusiast. Now, many of these things absolutely light me up because not only, does kinesiology make so much sense for how powerful and how consistent that modality of health is for people, but Zumba, I've got to tell you the story about my Zumba story when we get a chance. But yeah, I'm just so excited to talk to you because when we have been chatting, we don't stop. Like we kind of summarize what we're talking about and we make a good hour of conversation out of that. So pretty excited to see where this conversation leads. But first, I'd like to ask Kerry to take us on a journey with a meditation so we can ground down and, wash the rest of the day off us and be fully present for this session and this gathering tonight. So please, Kerry, would you mind taking us on a little journey in your own style?
Yeah, okay, everybody. So let's ground ourselves first. So we're going to just sit and place your feet flat on the floor. And great, and close down your eyes. And take a nice deep breath in through the nose. So close the mouth and deep breathe in through the nose. Breathe out through the nose. Focus on the tip of the nose and the air coming in through the nose. Breathe out through the nose. And now I want you to visualize roots growing from the bottom of your feet, going down into Mother Earth. So try and visualize coming out of the bottom of your feet and they're going really deep down into the core of the earth. You might even start feeling a little bit of energy around your feet because we're focusing on your feet. So you might feel like a little gentle buzz. So that's you feeling the energy. And take 2 more nice deep breaths in through the nose. Breathe it out through the nose. And 1 more, breathe in. And breathe out. Okay, just open your eyes for this next little bit because I need to just show you where the points are. So this is called a heart self meditation, and it's one of the techniques we use in kinesiology as a balance when we're balancing people, but you can also use it in times of stress. So when your body's stressed and you're kind of losing your rag, or you feel really emotional, you can do this to yourself and you will actually feel your whole body just calm down. So what we're going to do is you're going to take 2 fingers on either hand, it doesn't matter which one, and you're going to place those 2 fingers on your xiphoid process. So that's where the ribs come up, and then there's that little squishy bit just where they meet. So that's there. Then you're going to take your thumb and you're going to place that basically between your nipples. So it's about like a couple of inches up from the 2 fingers. So you're holding there. So you're going to hold them points there. Then with the other hand, you're going to do this. So 2 fingers there, 2 fingers here, thumb here. You're going to place the 2 fingers here on the collarbone. So where the collarbone meets, just here. You can see that. So where my collarbone meets, right in the middle, just there. Yeah. And then the other 2 fingers are in a triangle. So come down, and you don't have to be perfect, but that it kind of comes down into a triangle. So you're holding these points. So just relax into that and just hold them points. You don't need to press hard, just nice and light. Now you can close down your eyes whilst holding these points. So everybody close their eyes down. Take a nice deep breath again in through the nose. Breathe it out. Now what I want you to do with your eyes closed and whilst holding these points, I want you to think about something in your life that you absolutely love and adore. I want you to either visualize it or I want you to get that feeling. So for people that have children, it might be that sense of love that you felt when that baby was first placed in your arms. For those of you that have pets and absolutely love and adore your pet, it's that feeling you have where you absolutely feel that sense of love, compassion. If you're a visual person, you might visualize it as hearts, pink hearts, red hearts. If you're a feeling person, you might feel it more so around the heart area. So just focus on that sense of love, care, appreciation, compassion. What I want you to do now is I want you to send that same feeling and that sense of love through your whole body. So I want you to imagine sending it down to your toes, comes up through your feet, up your ankles, up your legs, fills your body. So visualize your whole body filling up with this sense of love, compassion. Send it down your arms to your fingertips and then all the way to the top of the head. I want you to go through every cell. So your whole body is now filled up with this sense of love, care, appreciation. Breathe in. And now I want you to send that same sense of love out through your body and into your aura. So the aura is the light bodies that come out from the physical body. And I want you to send that same feeling of love, care, appreciation out into your aura, and you're going to fill your aura up. So see it filling up, feel it filling up. And breathe. Now I want you to take that same feeling of love, care, appreciation, compassion. We've sent it through the body. We've sent it into our aura. Now I want you to send it out into the universe. Send that sense of love, compassion out into the universe. It's radiating out from your body through your aura. A deep breath in through the nose. Breathe it out through the nose. And open your eyes when you're ready. And release the points. So you can do that at any point through the day when you just need to come back to yourself and to calm down. It actually calms the nervous system down.
That felt amazing. I like the physicality and the, really centering in on the body, because it's sort of the key to meditation, isn't it? Being able to get out of the head and into your body. And I felt a bit like a Care Bear, just giving the love I feel just out to the world. So Yeah, that's super powerful. Thank you, Kerry. Love it. Love it. And you say you do this as a tool for the work you do?
Yeah. So when we're balanced, we always ask the body what the body wants to heal. So the human body is super intelligent, like so much more intelligent than we realize. And as kinesiologists, we always ask the body. So, you know, what do you need to heal yourself? And sometimes it will say, yeah, give me the heart self meditation. And so that's what we perform on clients as a balance.
Yeah, I think my only understanding of the intelligence of the body in some aspect is when something explodes and your eyes close before it hits you. And you're like, wow, how did my body know that that thing was exploding? Because it happened faster than I knew. So, yeah, the body is epic. And yeah, enjoy giving it some love and some appreciation and respect. Thank you. So, Kerry, tell me, from the conversations I've had with you, you're a very passionate person and you've got like your life in your hands and you're working with what you've got at the moment. Tell us, you know, you've got this epic story of what it is that, you know, all of these things that you've done, which absolutely light me up just looking at, you know, what it's like to live that life of somebody with all of these epic modalities and healings and being able to like mix it with people and help people. And, you know, from obviously spending time in the gym to, you know, the practice room with kinesiology to like Zumba rooms. All right, I'm going to drop my Zumba story right now. All right. Now, my experience with Zumba is having a laughter yoga session every week at this community hall. And we'd take this small section of the community hall, and there was a big hall right next to us. And every time we would finish the yoga session, we'd end with a meditation. And the Zumba people would like start up their music while we're trying to meditate. And it was like this incredible learning because where you think that you need silence for meditation, and we had this thumping music in the room next door, we were practicing that real life potential of what it's like to live in a noisy world and have to bring it in and, you know, focus on ourselves. And the only time it was really hard to have a meditation was when they would play a song that I played in the yoga session, in my laughter yoga session. We'd sometimes have a dance. And so we had some favorite songs. And that was when it got hard. But yeah.
Zumba. Well, I just wanted to get up and dance.
Oh yeah, we'd all just go, no, like we can't, like now we really can't concentrate. But it was this amazing life lesson. And I appreciate, I've always wanted to do more Zumba because I think it would help me gain a few dance moves that are critical for life.
Yeah, swinging your hips, yeah. I think everybody should do Zumba.
Yeah.
Like, because I was showing the ladies at the weekend that you don't even have to join a gym. You can just put some music on in your kitchen and you can dance.
Yes.
And get fit.
Yes.
Just let it loose.
Yeah. And that soul just coming out in you, and just everybody loves dancing. Like I say, with laughter yoga, I'd put on a song, and definitely when I was doing it corporate, it was like people would just be like, oh, I get to dance. Like, it's just, there's not many opportunities as an adult to freely dance.
I know, and not care. Like, and dance like nobody's watching.
Yeah.
Because we all get a bit like, oh,
yeah,
shouldn't dance that way, or like just dance.
Yeah, just dance.
Dance.
Like this morning, this is a trailing story. This morning, I was with the Liberators crossed with the Cold Nips, and we were doing a dance party on sunrise on a pier, like a jetty out into the ocean. And it was crazy because when you're used to dancing and you turn up to dance, okay, you're ready, you're warmed up. But for whatever reason, Peter Sharp, the guy that runs the Liberators, always wants to surprise people. And so we had this parachute over this mobile DJ desk, and with all these massive speakers, like he's an audiophile, he just absolutely overloads speakers. And so when we take off the parachute, and I'm under this parachute, and there's literally like 150 people or something, and they're all standing there just staring at us. Because they're just like not ready to dance, you know? And just that view is just burnt into my brain, because I know Peter's like big idea of like, boom, and the whole world's just going to dance.
And they just didn't know what to do.
And they just...
Did you dance at that point?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love dancing. I can dance, baby. I got this. It's my home. That's my church. That's my spirit.
So
yeah.
You're gonna be there at the next one that they're doing in Perth. They're doing one.
Oh, they're over the bridge. Over the bridge. Yeah, if I can. Every opportunity.
I'll see you there.
Yeah, the Liberators. Peter is just mesmerizing, and I'm just so grateful he lives near me to be able to provide this epic community spirit, which is something that we're trying to create here in little doses. So tell me, with all of this exciting, potential in your life, tell us, Kerry, what pivot, like what brought you to where we see you today? Because you've got a much bigger story and a much bigger message that you want to share.
Yeah. So my pivot was the breakdown of marriage. That was 2000. We moved to Australia 2014, and it was that year that my daughter was upset one night, and when I questioned her and probed her as to why she was so upset, it took about 15-20 minutes to get it out of her. She revealed that she just caught her father watching pornography. To which I was like, don't be silly, he doesn't watch porn. And went and put it to him, and he denied it. And of course, that started things rolling from there, because I'd always had my suspicions through our marriage that he was not quite honest. I actually caught him lots of times being dishonest, but he always blamed it on me. It was always me. It was my fault. I was the one with self-esteem issues and broken family, and it was me. So the more I investigated, the more I found out that, yes, in fact, he was addicted to pornography. And I know for like a lot of men, maybe it's not a big deal. But I think as a married couple, you should discuss things like that, right? And so it turned out he was actually a sex addict. So from that point on, I went to try and find us help and see psychologists and counsellors. In that same year, I started on my kinesiology course too. But the kind of pivot for me in recognising that I had no self-esteem was when I went to have a photo shoot. Because I was like, I'm going to prove to you that I'm just as beautiful as them women that you're watching. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm going to go look beautiful. So I go along to this photo shoot, and it's an underwear shoot. So I've got underwear. And during the shoot, the ladies decided that in one of the things I was wearing, my bust didn't quite look big enough. Because of course, as women, we have to have big busts, big bums, small waists. So they ran around the room and they tried to find something to place in my bra to make me look like I was bigger. So they found a baby's nappy and they put it in the bra. Which obviously, ladies, isn't sexy. You don't feel sexy at all posing for a camera with a baby's nappy trying to make you look like you've got big boobs. So unflattering. So that it wasn't a great start. And the hair and makeup artist, she curled my hair too much. I spent years straightening my hair, and this woman curls it, puts makeup on. My makeup isn't great, so I'm really in a great space.
Yeah.
Anyway, do the photo shoot, go home. A couple of weeks later, I go back to have a look at the photos, and they put them up on these giant screens.
Wow.
So you're sat there, and I'm like, here we go. I'm going to look amazing. I'm going to look great. And then they put the photo up, and I go, oh, no, that's not what I wanted to see.
Yeah.
And I hated it. I hated every single photo that I saw of myself. And I actually drove home crying. I was devastated because I imagined it to be like sexy, and it was kind of like full on bright pictures, and I looked more like the girl next door than I did sexy kind of sultry woman. And that's when I kind of realized that I was actually suffering from low self-esteem issues. So I went on the journey to try and fix myself as well, recognizing that. And kinesiology, the first week that we started, they warned us. They said, look, ladies, by year 2, some of your marriages might break down. Like, this is what happens. And I sat there going, yeah, whatever. I've got a great marriage. He's my best mate. I love him. He loves me. And bang, year 2, yeah, our marriage was fully breaking down.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I came out of that relationship that I realized I was in a domestically abusive relationship. I had absolutely no idea. Even when there was an occasion when he followed me in his car, because I wouldn't get in the car. We'd had an argument. I don't like public displays of conflict, so I tried to walk away from him. So he followed me in the car, and because I wouldn't get in, he got out of his car, and the next minute I was being dragged by my hair backwards down the street. And then he lifted me up off my feet. I screamed so loudly that people came out of their houses to help. A stranger had seen what was happening, and he followed us in his car. And I actually felt safer getting in the car with a stranger than I did with my husband, which is just crazy. There's been times when he was shouting at me so much in the car. I was so scared of what he was going to do in the car that I actually jumped from a moving car. A couple of times I did that. I've hid in bathrooms when he was chasing me or, you know, coming after me. And I used to have to lock myself in the bathroom, and of course he kicked doors in. But the main thing was, for me, it wasn't so much the violence. Once I left him, that's when the coercive control fully started. So he threatened to take everything off me. So he threatened to take my children, my finances, my career, my visa status. And I was like, yeah, whatever, off you go then. And he did. So over the last 7 years, I've literally lost everything, like everything. So homes, I've lost 2 homes. During COVID, it was a struggle. He cut me off financially straight away. So I had no savings. Court ordered him to pay money, he didn't pay money. Child support, he ran up debts, didn't pay his child support. When I left him, I was only teaching 3 classes in London a week. And I was on my 3rd year of my advanced diploma in kinesiology. So I was just starting to get my practice up and running. So I had no money whatsoever. So we had electric cut off, we had internet cut off. The police pulled me over one day. I had no plates on my car. Like, I didn't even realise you hadn't meant to have plates on the car. Like, I'm from the UK, I didn't understand all that. And when people kind of go, what do you mean? You're like, this is when you're in a controlled marriage. Like, they control everything, and you kind of let them. And so, yeah, I was a bit like, oh, okay, no plates, great. And then they take everything off you. He even like got involved in my visa. He was contacting immigration. He was sending me emails saying, if you don't go to immigration tomorrow and tell them your partner visa isn't right, I'm contacting Canberra. I've got ministers on the, like, he would literally send me emails threatening things like that. I would get missed phone calls from Canberra, and I'd be like, oh my God, he really has done it. Like, Canberra on the phone to me. Years later, when I had the bank statements of the court and I looked through them, he had actually flown to Canberra and actually made the calls himself. I don't know if he was meant to be there, it was just a coincidence, but that's how bad like the abuse was. It was every single week I had to deal with something, like letters from lawyers, child support, family court. You know, family court would be like, yeah, come down to court, and you'd be like, oh, well, I can't really afford the fuel or the parking. But okay, and then you get there and you go, hey, magistrate, he's not paying the spousal maintenance that you ordered. And she went, well, I haven't got time to deal with that today, just put a form in. What? So I've got to take another day off work, I've got to pay more fuel and another parking ticket, which I can't afford, when you could just stand here now and tell him to pay his money. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And then the worst of it was when they can't control you anymore, they go for your jugular. And my jugular was my children.
Mm.
So he started with my daughter. She was 17 at the time. He started buying alcohol, taking her to parties, telling her to lie to me, asking her to leave the door open so that he could access the house, like full manipulation, full parental alienation, which people don't really understand. So they turned them against you. So I had Jay turned against me. Then he worked on my middle child and finally my third child. So my middle child disappeared overnight. I was in bed, woke up in the morning, when I thought, where's Oliver? Why hasn't Oliver got up? Went to Oliver's bedroom, opened the door, pulled back the cover, and there was a teddy in, to make it look like he was in bed. Rang the police straight away. I was like, oh my God, I think he's gone. Rang the police, spoke to Jay. Jay was like, no, is it his mate's house? I'm like, oh, okay. So I rang the police back and they're like, yeah, but have you sighted him? I'm like, well, no, but is it his mate's house? No, okay. 6 o'clock that night, my neighbour came round and said, Kerry, I hate to tell you this, but Oliver's on a plane to the UK.
How did your neighbour know this?
Oliver had messaged him to tell him.
Oh.
Yeah, messaged a neighbour to say, I'm leaving.
Oh.
Yeah, so I had absolutely no idea. And he was gone, that was it. I didn't get to say goodbye. Didn't get to talk to him. He left me a really awful letter. It was just like heartbreaking, like an awful letter.
Wow.
Yeah, and you do question yourself, like you just like how? I know in my heart I'm a good mom. Like I know I am.
Yeah.
I've always loved. That's all I ever wanted to be was a mom. As a young girl, I was like, I knew I wanted to be a mom, and I did everything. I took my kids to all their training. I was always there to support them at every school event, every sporting event. Never moaned about them. Never went, oh great, they're going back to school this week. I've had it, like never. I loved my children, and it was like, how has it got to this point? So that was Oliver, and then they went for Owen, and so my ex-husband is now in prison, but he worked from prison with his parents in the UK, and they went through the court system to take my 14, 15-year-old off me. He was ringing him from prison like 2 or 3 times a day, telling Owen that I wasn't to discipline him. If I ever tried to discipline him, it was me that was wrong. Constantly bad-mouthing me, putting me down. And then we went to court, and me and my lawyer were quite confident because we had lots of evidence. We had text messages printed off that he'd sent to the kids denigrating me. We had prison phone calls. We had 100 hours of prison phone calls, and I had to go and listen to those phone calls. So as an abused woman, again, it actually adds to the abuse because I had to go and sit at court on my own. You're not allowed to take anyone with you, and you have to listen to this man denigrating you. And this is 5 years on. He's still denigrating me to people. And every phone call to the boys is, your mom this, your mom that, do this, do that, tell the police this, tell the authorities that. I think you better go and live with your grandparents. So I had all this evidence, like him actually saying, if the authorities ask you, tell them that you don't feel safe and secure with your mom. I was like, I've got him. We're going into court. This is going to be okay. And then the judge sat there and he said, how many hours is it going to take me to listen to these phone calls? Because I've got a busy diary. What? I'm sorry? You're about to split a mother up from her children and all you can do is say you've got a busy diary? Yeah. Like, there is no words to explain how that feels. No. And there was no social workers involved. They went to an independent children's lawyer and got an independent children's lawyer involved. They have no idea. It's not like, I don't think they're trained in psychology or anything of children. They're just an independent lawyer that represents the child. And he was like, yeah, I think Owen should go because I don't think, I think he's so far gone now that it's going to be more hurtful and harmful for you, Kerry, to keep him here.
Mm.
And you're like, yeah, but you could get services involved and help me.
Yeah.
Like, we could just keep him here and give you some support.
Yeah.
And then the judge said, yeah, no, I listened to the phone calls. I don't think there is any evidence. So I'm going to take off the flight ban and allow your 14-year-old to fly on his own with no supervision all the way to the UK to live with grandparents that he hasn't seen since 4 years old, that have no idea at 70 years old how to look after teenagers.
Yeah.
And then to add injury, they said, oh, and you're not allowed to drive over into the airport, Kerry. What? I'm sorry, what? We were like, no, I can drive, I'm all right, like, I'll drive it, if you're going, you're not allowed to. So I had to drive separately to my own child and meet him at the airport.
Yeah.
And send him off.
Wow. Yeah, that anyone getting between you and your kids is creates that inner cave person that just, you've never known fury or like that strength in you to want to fight. So you've been dealt these heavy blows constantly, bang, 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 and you're in a place now where you've seen that happen, you've watched it happen, and you've been completely disempowered. Like, you just don't feel like you have any power over the situation. It's been a slippery slope. And now you're taking that pain and that anguish and the challenges that you've seen, and you're turning it around to try and, majority of us working in this sort of space, myself included, are just working towards helping other people not feel the pain that we've felt through life, right? So you're like, what tools can I provide people to lessen the impact, the pain, or the length of the dip, whether it's just the time spent in that dip. Because unfortunately, there are so many people out there that are going to be, in this same situation. Like, there is no, unfortunately, we're never as unique as we would imagine. We're in a situation where everything has happened before. And that doesn't make you feel better that, that there's a village of people that are suffering. But you're working towards a positive outcome somehow, and you've got all of these amazing tools in your kit. So what are you doing now to try and help people that have ever come across this sort of situation? And I was promoting the self-love aspect to what you're promoting too, and it felt so good to talk about that.
Yeah.
So tell us, what are your plans of attack now?
Well, apart from wanting to change the whole world and the whole system.
Go on, please.
Well, it's kind of like domestic abuse is a really big thing in Australia at the moment. We've still got 1 woman a week being murdered by an intimate partner.
Yeah.
We haven't got a handle on domestic abuse in Australia at all. New South Wales have finally brought in a coercive control bill, which comes into place July 24. So for people like Mark that did what he did to me, I can't find what the penalties are. Nowhere does it say on the internet what the penalties will be for coercive control, but it's going to be in, so it will tighten things up. I want that brought into Perth. Like, I want a campaign to bring that bill into Perth. To stop this. It isn't just men that do this. We know that women do it to men too. So it will tighten things upon that. So it's really for me to get out there and try to get the coercive control bill brought in to shine a light on how broken the system is. And it's the children it affects. And it doesn't help going through a broken family court system that puts mum and dad at each other's throats. The lawyers are the people that win because they've got the money. So we need to change the system, especially with domestic abuse, like understanding what it's like to be one of them women where you are trying to cope with so many things. You're trying to stay organised, look after the kids, look after the house, work to earn money, answer family court. There's all these forms that you have to fill in. You have no idea. Like, fill form 1A23 in, and you're like, where do I find that? It's so broken, and none of the services talk to each other. Child support doesn't talk to family court, that doesn't talk to the police. So you've got to constantly disprove the abusers. Who'll tell child support that family court said this, and they'll tell family court that child, and you're sitting there going, that's what was said in these, you know. We need like a wraparound system to come in and to care for these women. But they do it in other countries, but we haven't got it here. The perpetrators in some countries have to wear tags. So if they go within a mile of the victim, then an alarm goes off in a station and they sweep on them. In some countries, if they don't pay child support, they take the driving license off them. You know, we need to get tougher, for one. And I want to get out there and inspire women. Like, so many women stay in abusive relationships because they fear the other side. So I did start working a few years ago. I formed a company called Rising Lotus, where we were getting out trying to do that work. It's very hard when you haven't got funding, you know, and trying to get funding from governments and to do this work is hard. So I tried to flip it and go, well, if I can't help on this side, how do we stop women in the first place getting into abusive relationships? And that's where the self-love thing came from. Because if I'd have loved myself as a teenager or in my 20s, I would have seen the red flags and I would have walked. I wouldn't now be in the position that I am today. And so I think it's really important that we teach men and women and children most definitely how to love themselves, because when you love yourself and you see the red flags and you see people disrespecting you, you're actually okay to let them go because you've got you.
Yeah. And
you're happy to be on your own rather than be with people that are abusing you. So my work now is to get out and kind of, I've been going into schools and teaching teenagers how to love themselves. And that's sort of where I want to go, do more public speaking to get people to understand what is self-love.
Yeah.
It's not just having a bubble bath when having a piece of chocolate, you know, it's understanding and compassion for yourself, where you've been, what your trauma has been, and how that's affected you and your life. And, you know, doing that deep inner work. Yeah.
Yeah, I know my daughter, I gave her a self-compassion workbook, and there's a book and a workbook that went with it, but she wouldn't do the work. And, you know, I could only help her by giving her the tools to use, but obviously, you know, if it was more of a workshop base and, you know, in the school, and, you know, those things really do, you know, that drip feed effect that you can get with schools and things is so much better, because whenever you're not in that position, you know, whenever you're feeling low and you're not feeling confident, it's the worst time to be expecting to absorb information and step out and like start going through books. And, you know, so you know, definitely, it's so interesting that in our society where we have so much, you know, we have so little of our own, you know, value. I remember there was a story where the Dalai Lama was asked a question of the audience, asking, you know, how do you deal with low self-esteem? And he asked the translator to ask the person asking the question, can you explain this to me again? Can you explain this to me again? Like, I still don't understand. What do you mean by this low self-esteem? You know, because in his culture, there is no such thing as a low self-esteem. You know, that they've had, you know, so little, you know, given to them. They're not wealthy. They don't, you know, they've always struggled to get through life, but they don't have low self-esteem.
Wow.
And in our modern culture, we have everything, but we have, you know, we just don't work on ourselves. We have this emptiness in ourselves. And it's just such a remarkable contradiction of things. And like I say, just speaking the words of self-love and just myself, getting my head around that and the value it can create was so powerful. And just sharing that and the comments that were coming back were just, it was the most powerful thing that I've ever written down recently is, you know, considering what life would be like for you if you had truly love for yourself.
Yeah, and most people, like, so I ask this question quite often when I'm treating clients, because it often comes up in, like, at some point, all of us in our life have been made to feel not good enough, not worthy. Whether it's a teacher, a parent, a sibling, like we've all been affected. Advertising, marketing is the big one for women. So when you ask people, so what do you love about yourself? The number one answer normally that people give me is, well, I care for others. And then you go, yeah, but what about yourself? And they're like, well, and it takes them a while to really think what. And I've even had people say, I don't know. I don't, like, people don't know what they love. And then when you say, okay, so what don't you like? I did this with 2 teenage girls and they rattled off, and I don't like my eyebrows and I don't like my eyes, and it was all physical. And then again, when I said, okay, what's positive? What do you love about yourself? And they're like, it takes them a while.
That's heartbreaking, isn't it?
It's heartbreaking that we just, and obviously we all grow up with that thing from school where someone goes, oh, look at him, he loves himself. And so then you're like, oh, I shouldn't love myself. Yeah. So we've even got to describe the difference between ego love, like selfie, you know, I love myself, between, no, actually, I genuinely love who I am as a person. And somebody recently told me that, well, told a friend of mine that I didn't love myself because of some of my actions. And I'm like, no, I do. Yeah. That was a conscious decision that I made to do that action. Yes. I actually fully... That might be upsetting you. Yeah. But I'm in my place here. I absolutely... This may not be beautiful for the rest of you. Yeah. I'm good. I actually, I know now, I love myself. So that could be a marker that you do truly love yourself, is when you're not making everyone else around you's life harmonious as you once were. Yeah. You're doing less people pleasing and more creating boundaries for your own worth. Yeah. And so many people that get into abusive relationships, it's because they have that lack of self-esteem and have no boundaries. We're givers. We just give. And those types of people take. Yeah. And, you know, you get that, it's out of balance. Yeah. And as soon as you go, whoa, hang on a minute, this isn't right, I'm going to put my boundary in, they don't like that. And that's when they attack. Yeah. So you have to be so strong within yourself to know that you do love yourself and that what you've done is correct. You've put your boundary and you've spoken your truth in a nice manner. And if they go, then they weren't meant to be in your life. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think the older I get, the less room I have for, you know, people in situations that I don't feel that energy reciprocation is what I'm looking for in life. Yeah, but I wonder if it takes like us getting to a level. Yeah, a level. And even that whole like being comfortable in your own skin. Hey, I think that comes more so as you get older. You just like, you know, you can't really change it now anyway, so you might as well just love it. Yes. Whereas as 20-year-olds, we just want to change it all. Yeah, yeah. Certain way, and you get to our age, you're like, nah. This is it. It's changing. Yeah. We're doing that real deep work, and what I'm finding at the moment is what I class as like spiritual bypassing. Lots of people are going and doing all these great things, which are wonderful tools. So go do yoga, go meditate, go do some breath work. But doing those things aren't going to show you your patterns and your trauma necessarily. So lots of people don't understand who they are or how they affect other people. And they're doing all these things which look lovely, But if you watch them, they don't change from one year to the next. They repeat the pattern year on year on year on year. And yet they look like they're being more spiritual, but they're still going around acting the same way that they were when they were perhaps 20 years old.
Sure.
So the only way you can do that is by going and doing the proper deep work, like go and see psychologists, counselors, kinesiologists. Like kinesiology is great because you can't hide. If I sat in a counseling session with you, I can tell you anything. When I go into your subconscious, I find the real story. So how do you really act, you know? And there's no hiding from that because we're muscle monitoring, speaking to the subconscious.
Yeah.
So I can find out exactly what your trauma is and where it came from at what age.
Yeah.
And then that's when the change happens because you can catch your pattern and go, oh, doing it again.
I love kinesiology. I think it's so stunning. I was reading a book, what's it called? Something of power. Force versus power versus force.
Yeah.
And in it just reads how, like, in a group of 300 people, half the people are given an envelope with sugar and half not. And it's that reaction to the sugar, and it's just so consistent across the board. And I love how you can have something, like you say, there's no lying and there's no messing around, and the body knows.
The body knows.
And then you can read this and then make sense of it. And anytime you can just cut through the bullshit and have a consistent result, I am just wrapped. I mean, I was telling you about a time my River was maybe 4, and he was just scared, just frightened of shadows. He was genuinely, like, heartbreakingly scared. And it was the result of watching Michael Jackson's Thriller. And so these red eyes, and he was just too young and he's just absorbed all of that, just to the point of he couldn't put his legs under this table that I'm sitting at now to eat dinner. And that is just too much for a parent to bear, like seeing your kids so scared. And then he went to a kinesiologist. He played in the corner. Kinesiologist spoke with his mum. And then that night, he's sitting at the table, and he's a picky eater at the best of times. That night, he came, sat at the table, and just ate comfortably. And I was just blown away and just high-fiving kinesiology, and ever since, just being such a massive fan of the potential and the growth potential that it can provide. So
it's massive. Yeah, I had a guy, I think I told you, I had a guy that came in that was like suicidal, like fully depressed. And after his first session, he rang me the next day and said, Kerry, I don't know what you've done, but thank you so much. I was in the shower this morning singing. I don't care about money anymore. I just want to go and sit on an island, like full, like turnaround.
Yeah.
And like on my website, you'll see like a woman that had multiple sclerosis, you know, and she hasn't got MS anymore.
Oh, you're kidding?
Symptoms. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she worked with me first. She came off the medication because she decided she wanted to go the natural route.
Yeah.
She came to see me every 2 weeks for 2 years, I think it was. And we got rid of all of the symptoms. She went and had MRI scan. She had cranial and spinal MS. Stopped tracking.
Wow.
Yeah. And the other guy on my website is a guy that's coughing to the point where people were like noticing it.
Yeah.
And they went out all the tests. They couldn't find out why he was coughing. There was no explanation. 2 sessions of kinesiology, stop coughing.
Yeah.
Like, it's so powerful. And I do believe if we went in kinesiology to all of our children, we would have a completely different, there'd be no bullying. There'd be no, like, we would be different because we'd all be working on that subconscious behavior as we were growing up and cleaning through the blocks and looking at ourselves. So we should all be doing it.
Well, I've never actually had my own session, so maybe I I think I should have. I should definitely, because I love it.
Yeah.
But you know, when you're in the wellness space and you're kind of, you know, doing all of the things, and you're like, I'm fine.
Yeah. I'm good. Let's see what you support.
Special Go Team podcast event, you know, Peter's live kinesiology session.
Yeah, we could record it.
Yeah, we should do that. Hey,
Yeah, that'd be
Let's
fun.
record this kinesiology session.
Well, speaking of recording, we have this opportunity to record this gathering, and I would love to know the question that you have for us to dive in a little deeper with the meaning of life, because it is one of these questions that could seem like it's a little far gone to be touching on, but I think the big questions are worth probing, and I hope I didn't overwhelm you with the question, but I would love to know where your head was at to get to the question that you've got for us today.
Well, I was going to go with the self-love question, because that's what I'm all about
Yeah.
at the moment. So it was going to be, you know, what was my question? Something about self-love.
Yeah, tell us.
I can't even remember what it was now. Anyway, I'm not going with that question.
Okay.
I'm going deeper.
You're going deeper.
Oh, it was going to be, how would your life be different had you have loved yourself as a teenager? Because obviously I wouldn't be here now, sat in the situation I'm in. But as I think, was it Davey said, or someone said, like, I think it's Davey on his podcast said, but the thing is, we are all in the perfect place that we're supposed to be in because of our trauma.
Yes.
So I was like, so let's go a bit deeper. So what pattern in your life are you still repeating that you need to deal with?
Okay. Yeah. And where was your head at to get to that question? Like, because
I'm still doing patterns.
You're still doing patterns. Yeah, cool.
No, I've done all this healing, and this is what makes me laugh. Like, I tell people I'm not perfect. You know, I know I'm not perfect, and I know I still have things to work through, for sure. And every time you think you've worked through an issue, the universe goes, you think you've cracked that one, do you? Well, let me give it you a different way. So, some cracked narcissistic men, have you, Kerry? Really? Let's give it you a friend. Now do you get it? And you're like, no, I love my friend, they're great, they're wonderful. Oh, damn, they're a narcissist. It keeps showing up in so many different ways. It's almost like it does test you in every way.
Sure.
So my pattern I've only identified recently is that I still don't fully speak my truth. I don't open my throat chakra and speak my truth. I allow people to say things to me and make comments to me and put me down, dim my light, make me feel like I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, and I don't say anything, and then one day I pop and I stand up against them, and then I run and I cut them out of my life. I've been doing that for a very long time. So that's my pattern that I need to work on. I need to, when people say things that hurt me, say, hey, can I just bring something to your attention? I actually don't like you saying that to me, or, you know, can we talk about this? Talk about it and clear it instead of letting it build and then cutting them out of my life.
Okay.
Do you have a pattern?
I have something on my mind at the moment. Is it a pattern? I will say what it is because it really is bothering me presently, and it would be a pattern of my train of thought. And that is my body image. Like, I've literally, in the last week or two, had these dreams where I've got this massive gut, like a proper big fat gut. And I'm like, touching it and like looking at it and going, ugh. And like, I've always had like a body image issue to the point of like when I had swimming at school, like not like in the carnival or something, just not doing it, like just avoiding it, even though like I'm a water baby and I love, you know, swimming and surfing and everything. But my body image was like, I'm not taking my shirt off in front of people, like not if I can avoid it. And I don't know why exactly. Now I've kind of got thoughts of why I am like super self-conscious of my body now is because I've been skipping my exercise out of my morning routine. So I'll do my yoga, but I haven't been doing any core work. And that I think is really playing on my mind, that I'm not looking after myself. and my fabulous girlfriend is super fit and exercises all the time. And I think that's weighing on my mind a lot. That I'm like self-conscious, and it's so the pattern would be feeling like I'm not doing enough, and my mind just really beating myself up for it, and just wondering, like just constantly wondering, I can't figure out if it's the lighting or if I'm like looking fit or not. I'm just so confused. I'm like, is this mirror telling me the right story?
Yeah.
I have no idea about this mirror.
Okay.
Or like,
that's a massive one though, isn't it? Body image is massive.
It's massive.
But more so now for men too, because you're now being bombarded on social media by men with six packs and muscles and toned. So that was just us women for a very long time. Every advert is a sexy, stout woman. Now you men are feeling it too, and some of the boys at school are saying this too, that yes, there was pressure on them to be successful, but now they've got the pressure to look good. To look good as well. And I don't think we ever had it like, when I was young. No one, there was never, like I literally was at the Cold Nips morning swim, so there's heaps of young guys there, and they're all well ripped, and like not all, but you still like you know that focus is on these guys that are just like super athletes, and you're like, wow, there's a lot of them. you know. Exactly. But I guess that two schools of thought. Hey, like one, yes, self-love is looking after yourself. Making sure you do that. The discipline but then there's a balance. Love yourself. Even if you did have a gut, could you just still love yourself? I would have to work on it. I'd really have to work on it. There you go. So it shows that little bit of lack of self-love. Hey, no matter how you look, can you just still love yourself and just take your clothes off and go, this is me, guys? Because it's a different Peter. It's a hard one, huh? I'm not crippled by it, but it's definitely on my mind, and it's definitely something that I need to address. And I mean, let's talk this one out for one moment, please, while I've got you. If it was not the fact that I actually did have the better body to get me there, what steps would I take to, like, what actionable steps do I take to be more in love with my body? So that's the stopping the negative thought pattern. So every time you look in the mirror and you catch yourself doing that, is it the light? Or is this really how I look? No. This is how I look, and I still love me. And you stop that negative thought. So you catch yourself straight away doing the negative, and you turn it into a positive. So you get positive. So you look at something that you do like about yourself, or you've got great eyes, or actually you love your shoulders, or for women we should do it. Well, maybe I've got issues with my cellulite, but hey, I've got a lovely flat stomach, or like whatever it is that you want to focus on. But it's again trying to go outside of I love that quote that says, if only our eyes saw souls, how different our ideas of beauty would be. Like, can you just love you? Like, can you just love your soul no matter what this meat suit is? But if you want to do something, then that's when you need the discipline to go, do you know what? I'd love to just feel fitter. So my commitment to myself is I'm going to run twice a week, no fail, or once a week, just so you feel fitter. But then stopping that negative thought when you look at yourself and go, do you know what? At the age we are, like look at what 20 years time we're gonna look completely different. We better appreciate how good we look right now. I know. That's 100%. That's just love yourself. I like that.
I don't practice like positive self-talk in the mirror. So yeah, I can do that. I can work on that. Yeah.
That's actually funny saying that. Because sorry to just jump in here.
Do it.
But
Perfect.
the picking up on the negative self-talk was something that I actually mentioned to you as well. In the last podcast after Davey, the one that you and I did, where I was saying I was jumping out of the shower and I had this thought. I was like, "Oh, I'm not needed. That's not needed." And then I was like, "But that was over a text message. It's not. I don't need to do that." And I was like, and I caught it. And I remember saying in the podcast, I was like, "Could you imagine if I just let that go, like what that could manifest into, sort of thing?" And it's the same as you were just saying, Kerry, like catching the negative thought, like even in like its infancy or the smallest example of it as you can. And I think, oh, well, that's something definitely that Game On helps us with, because we're always focusing on the awareness of how we're feeling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but I think maybe the fact that I was in the mirror, I was in the shower, getting out of the shower, probably played a part into like why I was able to like catch it so quickly, kind of thing. But yeah, no, I just wanted to say that, yeah, legit, like it's 100%. You just need to catch yourself on them, and then you need to shift it into a reason why. No, the opposite. And it was just like, no, I am needed. I'm great, like sort of thing. So, and that also goes into the self-love thing. It doesn't have to be egotistical, like, but you're allowed to feel egotistical. Like you are allowed to feel it, and there's a difference between being like, I guess intense about it or not. But yeah, also awesome question.
It's a quiet love, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah,
I really love myself. Not like I love myself. It's like,
yeah, it's like just comfortable confidence, like in yourself, that you don't need to present to the world. And going into the your question, I'll answer that quickly. It was so like I've recently discovered that like my core wound was like the fact of I was feeling ugly. I felt ugly as a kid, and I put it in the chat there before because when I was in primary school, like looks was a thing for me specifically. Like I was the anorexic kid or whatever. I was like the skinny kid. So I don't really know. It's a recent sort of thing for me. Like I used to look at that feeling and just be like, nah, I'm not. But at the time, like I developed all these things to combat that. And one of them was like people pleasing, right? So that's one of the big patterns that I'm eating away at it, but it's also like picking up all the different ways I do it. So it's, whether it's reducing the price of an invoice for someone or going over the top and doing extra hours for things or doing this and this and this, or helping people who really don't deserve my help or whatever it is. So I am identifying them, but like it's one big pattern that like has a lot of little kinks in it that I'm trying to like pick out. So yeah, awesome question though. Awesome question.
I think it's giving yourself that compassion. Hey, that's self-love too, is that
Yeah.
You've recognized it now, which is part of it, and then taking time. Like you don't have to change it all now, do you? You can work one thing at a time.
Yeah, you identify the bits as they come, sort of thing, but because you've identified the main thing, you're aware of it. And then like the same way you start noticing negative talk, you start identifying these patterns and noticing them. You're like, wait, am I doing this because of this? And you can actually question it and be like, no, this makes sense. I will still do this. Or no, yeah, right. That makes no sense. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And, sometimes, and a lot of the belief in this stuff is you have like this protection mechanism that you build up around it. But the big thing is that protection mechanism does serve you well in some aspects. So you still utilize it, but you just learn when you can switch it off and when not to, rather than let it take over your whole sort of life kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's great that you went back as well, because you always have to go back to try and identify where the pattern started. Like you said, you go back, you go, where did it start and why? Like, was it school that teased you? Was it a sibling? Like, there may have been an incident. So I had a client the other week who had quite a bit of weight on her. And when we did a kinesiology, it went back to when she was 7. And I said, what happened at 7 with this emotion? I can't remember what the emotion was. And she said, actually, that was at school. A teacher brought in some vegetables and some green beans, and she made her eat a green bean, and she didn't want to eat the green bean, and the teacher made her eat it. And I said, okay, so did you then have an issue with food after that? So she went home, asked her mom, and her mom went, yeah, like from then on in, you would not eat vegetables. You used to hide them under things and on the floor. And she was like, I never even knew that that's where my eating thing came from. Like kinesiology identified it was 7 years old. So for you, it might be the same, that there was an actual incident.
Yeah, it was. So I went back through. So I did a session with Davey, and I already knew about this, but I never let myself feel it. Like I never let myself feel it after that first time I felt it. And it was like I was primary school, year 2, so or year 1 or something like that. So I was about 6 or 7, 8, something like that. And it was basically someone had tore up this gift, like this Christmas card that I gave them. I gave like these cards to everyone for Christmas or something, and someone had tore it up, and then someone else said, "Yeah, because you're ugly." And then all these other things kept happening around that, and then I became the anorexic kid. People started calling me that, and this, and this, and this, and this, and it was kind of like, oh, okay, so. And then I developed this thing of like I started making friends around the things I was doing, like making things, all my ideas, all my creativity and everything. So a lot of later, I guess things that I thought were stopping me, I would class as people don't understand me, like there's a misunderstanding. And that was like a layer added on top of, this feeling ugly core wound that I never actually felt or let myself address. So, and then as you go, you just keep stacking these other things on top of all of them. So you have to go back and question that maybe this isn't it, and keep going back until there's one that you just really sort of fight against. But eventually you're just like, because sometimes you might be aware of it, but you might just think, oh, it's bullshit. It's not that bad. But like if you actually let yourself feel it, like, oh, then it's kind of a different story. And then you can look back at it and, look at it again freshly and be like, yeah, like, really? Okay. So it's very powerful being able to go back and having the people that can help you go back as well. So,
and how amazing is it too that as you get older, you kind of realize that it doesn't actually matter what somebody looks like. Like we can just see through the screen his energy and how beautiful a person he is. And no thought goes through my head of what he looks like.
No.
Build wise, you might think that, but I just go, oh, doesn't he seem really nice? Nothing to do.
Why my arms are hidden. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Talking about loving someone like that, the eye gazing and looking into somebody's eyes, I can fall in love with every human on the planet if I sit with them for 5 minutes and stare into their eyes. And I might be like just falling in love with the trauma or feeling their story inside them. But it's just love for them as a human.
Mm.
And it's so far beyond the rest of, their meat suit, as you call it. So it's amazing how much we care about ourselves more than anyone else does in that way.
Mm.
Yeah.
I wonder if has Vanessa got a pattern? Is she going to speak?
Yes, I have a pattern. My pattern is definitely not speaking my truth, and similar to Kerry, in that people can say and do whatever they want, and I'll just let it slide because I'm a nice person and I'm a people pleaser until enough is enough. And rather than bringing it to their attention and addressing it, I'll just cut them from my life and I'll walk away. So I'll just constantly hold a grudge and it will hurt me. And then that relationship will end and neither of us will ever know really why that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to change that, Vanessa? Are you working on changing that?
Slowly. Yeah.
I think it's a really hard one to change, hey?
Yeah.
because we don't want to hurt people.
No,
That's why we don't speak our truth.
No, and time
Well,
is precious, right? As an
if
adult.
Yeah, and I think there's the fear of, like, I know that relationship has ended and I'm partly to blame for it because I never said why, but I think there's still that fear of, if I tell them really what happened and what upset me, that they're not going to like me.
Mm.
But it doesn't change the fact that we're not even friends anymore. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, well, what's the harm in me speaking my truth? But it's still that fear of just saying it.
Yeah, and that's the people pleasing bit. Hey, also that you want to please people so much you don't even want to speak your truth to them because you're so afraid that you're going to hurt them.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm afraid of hurting people, because I'm with you in this, like, and that's the beauty of this conversation, is we resonate with everyone else's stories. Like, there's a part of us in every answer. I believe, I feel anyway. But I have had this situation where I'm, feeling like time is precious. So the investment in people is a really high value transaction. So if somebody doesn't resonate with me, or they've done something that I don't agree with, the way that they're doing life or the way they're talking, and I tap out of that relationship, and I'm the exact same as you, and I just fade, and I don't invest anymore in that relationship, and I hang on to the is it me? Am I do I not have enough, like, room for people's differences in this space, like, or am I leaving the space open for people that I do really resonate with, and I do really enjoy their energy and their and I'm kind of caught, not sure if I'm what is the best, but would the most self-loving person give time and space for beautiful people to come into my life by opening the door, and not giving time to people that aren't on the same path, or
Me and Vanessa had that same conversation earlier today, hey, because I posted a video on Facebook last night, a reel that I found on TikTok, with a woman saying just that the more you heal, the more aware you become of people's patterns and unhealed trauma. And so then you struggle to be around that because of the way they treat you or make other people feel.
Yeah.
And she said, actually, so as you go through this journey, your circle does become smaller and smaller, but you actually end up with a real good quality circle of friends, rather than lots of friends who are all superficial and you keep getting hurt by them, but it's okay because I've got lots of friends. I would much rather have 5 friends that don't want to keep pulling you down and in your life,
inspiring you, and
have a great relationship.
Yes. Yeah. Critical. Thank you for your share.
Thanks, Vanessa.
Where'd Mandy go? You there, Mandy?
Cheers.
I am here. I've been listening.
You haven't been on.
Say again?
I've been missing you. You went away, and now you're back.
Yeah, it's been quite a confronting podcast for me. So I've been staying a little bit offline today, but thank you everyone for being so vulnerable and sharing so freely and from the heart. I had to take a few deep breaths here along the way. Plus, Eden is still awake and wanting some attention, so I've been trying to look after him too. But great question, Kerry. Amazing story. And yeah, I can feel your pain.
Thanks.
And I think unless you walk down that road, you can never understand. And even if you have, it's different for all of us who have been there and gone through whatever that road is.
Yeah.
And it makes me just sitting here thinking about it, and there's a lot of things that I would have hoped there is help in place, and it probably is, but I believe when it comes to certain authorities and places we have to go to seek help, there's not necessarily much empathy there, and you just have to be your own best friend.
Yeah, for sure.
In days and nights when you don't know where to draw the energy from or to get help from, because you don't want to create risks for other people. You want to protect yourself and your children. And it's just an endless loop. And then you're constantly torn between, is it better to keep quiet, or how long am I gonna put up with that before it's maybe too late?
Yeah, it is. It's a tough.
And there's no one solution fits all. But I like how you said that, and that's the place I'm at. You know, we can create all the systems to make people feel safer and put all the helplines out in the world. But I think it starts way earlier, where it begins with self-love, with our self-worth, and when you're born. But I was thinking about how you can really help people, like even my son, he is 9 now, to make them feel more confident in life, to stand up so they don't put themselves in situations like that, or find themselves in that, you know what I mean?
Mm.
And we can have the best role models at home by parents, but then you go to schools, or, you know, it just takes one person. And like we all heard, you only need one trigger moment. And then if you don't deal with it there, you just pile on top throughout your life. And everyone picks a different story. For one, it's body image. I think everyone has body image problems somewhere in their life. You know, it just comes out in different ways. But for me, my pattern, I worked through lots of patterns. Funny, I also did a post today on patterns, but I didn't even know that this was going to be here. And for me, it was, is it like that we need to learn more new patterns? Or is it to unlearn something? Because, you know, the cup is so full, you shove so much in. I felt like vomiting all day today, and I'm going, I don't know what it is. I felt really emotional, and I'm not sure I'm very intuitive. So I knew the topic of tonight, so that could have played part of it as well. So the lead up to it, I'm going, oh, I just feel like vomiting, but I knew it was emotional vomit. It wasn't physical. Like, you know, I didn't feel like I needed to vomit properly. But for me, the pattern that I find in repeating is trying to perfect things. And it's not for me. It's more for others, because I want to deliver quality. And what was recent and new 5 seconds ago is already outdated now. Because I'm also the creator and the inventor, and I have a million ideas. And so I'm in that constant loop to want to top the next idea. And I'm going, I'm on that constant cycle of repetition, except the idea is always better, but it just never sees the daylight. Or it does, but not in its form as I want to. Yeah, Justin, I thought so. We have a lot of similarities. I'm going, oh my God. It's painful, but at the end of the day, eventually you just gotta jump. And I've done a lot of jumping already, but
do you know where that comes from though? Like if you look back in your life, do you know where that comes from?
Yeah, and it's interesting. Yeah, because when I was 7, like I always was A student, like even in the early years. And I remember it was so funny because I just come back from Germany and I know exactly the moment. And I saw the guy and I said, remember when I was 7? And he came with like it was a family friend, and he came to visit us, and I had all my books there and it was all A grades. And then there was one where I had a C, and I hidden it so no one would see it. And then I told him, no, I had all A grades. And he says, I bet I find one that doesn't. And I said, no, this is my latest test. And I pulled the wrong book, and it was the C one. I went, oh my God. And it was like, oh my God, now, but it's that proving, you know, I have to prove you that, yes, I am that good. And so it's always that, yeah, I prove that I tell the truth. There was another instance where my dad didn't believe me, but that was at 14, that I was like just getting ice cream with my cousin. And then he would ban me or ground me for a week. And I'm going, no, I told you the truth. And then I'm going, oh, and I did say that was the belief I created back then was, I can't trust men, because even if I tell you the truth, you don't believe me. And it followed me a long time throughout my life. Like I've dealt with that one now, but I've always had this, I need to prove, because even if I tell the truth, no one believes me. And I'm going, it's so ridiculous. So I thought, oh, I may as well just not tell the truth. But then I had a conflict within myself, because I still wanted to, since we're talking about mirrors, still look in the mirror and be truthful for me or to me. You know what I mean? Even if that meant I could hurt other people, which I which I did, but I always said, for me, it was more important to be truthful than to make someone happy just because I tell them what they want to hear. Because then I have a problem with my own conscience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you have to go back even before that with the grades to look at who put the pressure on you to have good grades.
Oh, that was like when my youngest brother was born, and I wasn't allowed to go to the hospital to pick him up because my other brother, he wasn't at school yet, so he could pick him up, but I had to go to school. So I made up the belief, or one day when I know more, I'm allowed to take time off school. So there was that. And it's crazy when you think about it, because then I'm going, oh, I just flew to Germany for a week and I left my son here. Then I'm going, what belief is he creating? Because I never travel without him, you know? And I'm going, oh my God, maybe he's now making up a belief like I did. And then he's going to live upon that. But yeah, now he said, nah, mama, I still love you very much. You're my bestest mama. I said, okay, that gives you some peace. Yeah, but it's crazy, all the beliefs, because then if we tell our parents, they said there was nothing like it. We just did what parents do. You go to school and then there's still time for you to see your brother when you come home from school, you know?
Yeah.
But that innocent little brain just creates it and then piles on top. And then you see outside proof, or so-called proof. Oh yeah, it is true. I am not clever enough. I don't have all A's, or he said this or she said that. And I'm going, oh my God.
And that's that subconscious thing, hey? So the subconscious is formed from the ages of 0 to about 7, when those beliefs are formed. So when you say to people, oh, so your father has come up and it's reject or abandonment, and you go, so is your father still in your life? And they go, oh yeah, my dad was great. Yeah, I had a great relationship with my dad. And you go, okay, so was dad around much? Oh no, he was always at work. We never saw him. He never played with us, never showed us love. The subconscious took on, not consciously, subconsciously you took on, my dad is abandoning me because he's never here. That's a subconscious belief, not a conscious belief. So that's what you're kind of fighting as well, hey, with all these belief systems, like with yours.
Yeah.
Like,
and then it comes back to the birth, like, you know, I was put into daycare at 6 weeks. So even though I didn't think back then, you know, but you could easily think, oh, I must not be worth being looked after, you know, or so I feel I'm not a priority. So I attract relationships where, oh yeah, I can be second, third, whatever priority, you know what I mean? Because I'm used to it.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely. That's what I attract. My brother was my first narcissist in my life and always picked at me, put me down. If I had a fight with someone, he cheered for the other person, not for me. And that's what I attract into my life. I attract men that don't choose me. You know, they always sort of like reject me, don't make me feel loved, and you know, pull me down, make me feel like I'm not intelligent enough, not good enough. And it's my brother. I just keep attracting my brother. So, but we have to become aware of these patterns in order to break them. Hey, but it's so
that's hard. Right. But the hardest thing is when you see it, and then when you see it in others, I'm going, oh, I can see it in you. I just want to tell you, but even if you tell, you can't see because we've been there before. Yeah. And there's still other patterns that we run that other people can see, and they get maybe frustrated about that. But I did a lot of mirror work, and that really helped me. Yeah, like just to talk. And if I didn't have any compassion for the person I'm looking into the mirror, I would imagine when I was 6 or 7. And then I'm going, okay, little Mandy, what do you need right now? What's going on? Like I did some mirror work today because I could feel there was something going on, and I was emotional, and I was like, and I just looked in the mirror and I just started to cry, and I'm going, okay, so what's going on? So I had a little conversation. I'm like, okay. So then I cried a bit more. I'm like, okay, I'm better now. Okay, let's dance again. But I had to shift it because I'm going, no, I'm not going to wait and just wander around and drink whatever makes me happy, you know what I mean? Or eat some chocolate. I just said, no, I know it's there, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to. But it's so good. Yeah, when you can shift it. But it was so heavy, and I'm going, oh, I just want to get rid of it. It's driving me nuts. It was like so crazy.
Most people at that point go and reach for the wine, right? The wine, the chocolate, the food, the porn, the whatever it is. They don't have to face that. So they went and looked in the mirror and actually faced it.
Yeah, because I'm really conscious now what I put in my body and who I hang out with. And like you said before, you know, it's better at first when you're coming from and I come from that place probably like yourself, where I have lots of people like that want to be in my circle. And I also like that because that feeds my self-worth. But now I don't depend on that anymore because I'm loving myself, and I'm going, if no one wants to see me anymore, that's okay because I got me. Like, and it's a really good position to be in, but it also can be a threat to some people because they might think, oh, whatever they think. But even if they said, no, oh, you're arrogant, like I have no issue to say, no, I'm really happy and I'm not embarrassed to say I love myself. You know what I mean? But before I'm going, oh, how can you even say this? I said, I'm not hiding from that because that was effing hard work. It was not just, oh, I woke up today and I laid on the beach and yes, I had some whatever to drink and I ate some chocolate and now I'm feeling it. It was lots of hard work and lots of tears and screaming and pillows and who knows whatever else there was, workshops and boot camps and but yeah, it was worth it and it's not finished. It probably will never be finished, but I'm in a much better place than I was 2 years ago and before that.
That's amazing. And you will always have those people. I still see it now with women, you know, you do get the women who maybe feel a little bit threatened by you because, you know, you're there and you're being loud and you're smiling and you love everybody and they love you. And, you know, you do still get these women come in that want to pull you down and want to criticize you. And, you know, it's really hard to then hold that worth. What's wrong with me? Why do I keep getting this? Whereas like years ago I'd have been like, no, please like me, I'm going to prove to you I'm really nice. And now I'm like, nah, bye. Like, I don't want you in my circle. I don't want to be nice to you because you don't treat people like that. I have no energy to give you. So, and I'm all good with that, you know.
So the value of our self-worth is relative to how nice we are to random people that don't mean anything to us. Yeah, something like that. Like, is that
kindness does matter. I think it's like it doesn't cost anything, and you know, I'm not saying that we need to all run around with smiles and open everyone the door, but I wrote in my phone today. I don't know. I was actually just gonna do a post, and it was just don't offend anyone on purpose, or like, you know, don't say anything. Like, you know, there's no need for that.
Yeah, still be kind.
I mean, I'm not happy every day either, you know. I have grumpy days too, and I'm not afraid to say that, you know. But when I am, then please get out of my way. You know, because I'm gonna be really grumpy. I'm gonna make up for the other 364 days. But yeah.
It's about being kind, but I guess is that some people like pretend that they haven't got a lower self. Or that they're just really kind to everybody. And that's not the truth.
No.
And you don't have to be overly kind to everybody if you're being treated a certain way. It's okay to say, I don't want to have your energy in my life. But it doesn't mean you're horrible to them. I don't want to give them any energy. I'm not a people pleaser anymore. Sometimes occasionally.
Natural to want to get a little buzz off the exchange.
But you know, it is that thing. Hey, life.
But it's by choice, you know. By choice you can do it. There's nothing wrong with people pleasing. I think it's okay, you know, as long as you do it intentionally and you choose it and you don't lose yourself. And if you lose yourself, well, then you catch yourself again next time. I think it's okay. As long as it's not just
like
that.
It's a balance, isn't it? Like, yes, I love giving to people, and I probably do over giving when I shouldn't be giving, but that's just now I recognize that's just who I am. I like that part. I love that part of myself. I help people, even when I'm down and out and I'm on the ground and everything's against me. I'll still say, "Can I help?"
It's a good distraction. But then that's an energy, you know, like if you lift them, then you're lifting, you know, rising tide lifts all boats, you know, like
I
just
think
in
it's
this conversation, we can feel how similar we are, right? We definitely have more things in common than we have differences. And that's one of the beautiful things I love about this conversation that we get to have. Is that feeling that we're in this together, and if we can share our wisdom and you know, actually voice our thoughts, and then we can pick up on each other's energy and vibe and what stories that we have, and we've been learning so much in such a short amount of time. And it's, you know, these conversations that really make me, you know, happy to be doing this people pleasing and trying to, you know, share the vibe that we can create here. So yeah, I thank everybody for sharing. You've been amazing to see you and to have you come along and be so vulnerable and share, because we're not asking, you know, how's the weather today? And you know, that's
It's
something
humid.
that, yeah. How was it, Justin?
Humid.
It was sticky.
It was.
And a little sticky today. Okay. All right. Would anyone like to ask Kerry a question while we have her? Is there anything that you've been thinking of?
I did want to actually ask. I'd never heard of kinesiology before. Like, what exactly? I've got a bit of an idea now of what it is, sort of thing. But could you break it down, like, really simply for me, just in the basic terms, kind of what it is?
Basically it's just realigning the energies of your body in a nutshell. So using muscle testing to access the subconscious, to find out what has affected the energy system of your body, at what age, past, present, future, and where the energetic block is. So is it in your chakra? Is it in your meridian? Is it in your aura? And then moving the energy. So once we've asked and we've identified where it comes from, we then use whatever tools your body requires, whether that's sound, fluorescences, Reiki, acupressure, to move the energy.
Okay, so it's
with your body flowing, and when the energy of the body flows, you don't get pain or, you know, depression, anxiety, whatever.
right. So it's as much as about like identifying as much as then I guess employing other techniques like Reiki and things to like realign things and whatnot.
Yeah.
But kinesiology specifically to identify, or does it encompass the whole lot, sort of thing?
The whole lot.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Awesome.
And it can be, I mean, it doesn't even have to be pain. So say you had backache, you could come in and we balance the muscles in your pelvic region to make sure they're in homeostasis. But it can be things like, you could come in, I've had people come in that want like to move to Melbourne, and they've done everything they can to move to Melbourne and it's not happening. So we put the goal in, I live in Melbourne, and we do a balance as to why they're not getting to Melbourne. And then she came back, no, she went to Melbourne, and then she came back and went, right, I'm now living in Melbourne. Like, great. And she said, but I can't get a partner. So we put in, I am in a loving, caring relationship, balanced her. She went back to Melbourne, she got a partner.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So it also encompasses like NLP, like everything basically. It just encompasses a lot of that then in its own way.
Because we always ask the body, how do you need to heal this? So a lot of it's healed actually through talking. Like, so we're stacking stuff in as you're talking, your muscles stop and go and stop and go. So we're stacking.
It's like your cells are learning as you learn it, as you talk it, as you action it, as you, yeah.
And then we balance it all out. So we use whatever we need to use to align the energy of the body. And then, your life just works better. Yeah, it's amazing. Like, it's one of the things that looks woo-woo. And even sometimes when I'm teaching people, I stand there dinging my swimming forks, going, really? Am I really hearing this person? Like, it's, you know, it's one of them that you go, oh. But then the results speak for themselves. Yeah. Like, I've just had a woman who had migraines again I treat so many people with migraines, 10 years. We've done 3 balances and now stopped.
Amazing.
So yeah, it's just one of them weird things, but it really does work.
Sure.
Yeah, very powerful. You have to come in and have a little session.
Sure, I'll be keen for that. That'd be cool.
To the root cause of your patterns.
Yeah, see if there's any others, or if that's not truly the one, or what happens.
Really the one, or is it a bit deep?
Is it, or was I just like really good at being defensive? You know.
Well, don't forget, some of this stuff, we're multidimensional, right? So some of this stuff comes through from soul. It's to do with your soul. You had an experience in one lifetime, and now you've come into this lifetime to try the other way.
Yeah, I completely believe that and have my own theories on that, but I generally sound like an egotistical maniac if I start going down there.
I wish we had time to go down there. I love stories like that.
I'll back you up too with Justin.
I'm interested why you would become an egotistical maniac by talking about your past life.
Yeah.
It was like, just the only doesn't matter.
Why do you think you were like a king or like something?
No, not a king, but like definitely somebody who like made an impact, a big impact. No idea who though, but I have my theories. That's where the theories go. It's like, but maybe that past soul and that past life had everything aligned externally in the way it needed to be for him to like get there. Or perhaps it happened later in life and it might happen later for me or whatever. We'll see. But
do you think then maybe it hasn't happened yet in this lifetime because you might have already experienced that in another lifetime?
No, I think I'm destined to like do a similar thing again, same thing, whatever it is. I just know it's big, and I know it's good. I know it's big, positive, it's innovative, it's change, it's like evolution, it's revolution. I know it's that. I know to my core it's that.
Yeah.
But when you think of all the people who've made those things, there are some very big, but like it's just there's way too many things, but they're all impactful and they're all big. And to try to claim that you're potentially a soul reincarnate from something like that, no matter who they are, if you say that to someone who doesn't have an open mind, you're going to come across as like an egotistical man.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for rounding that out. I appreciate it. It made perfect sense to us. Thank you.
I love all this talk. I was told at the age of 20 by a numerologist that I had healing hands and that I would return to a job doing something similar to what I'd already done. Well, I wanted to be a physiotherapist, and I worked in physiotherapy for 4.5 years and saw that it didn't really work. I was like, no, physiotherapy is not for me, never. And then like 20 odd years later, I become a kinesiologist using my hands to heal. And I hadn't really, I just used to joke with my kids and go, he's got healing hands. And they also said, you're here to learn about unconditional love in this lifetime and to teach about love. So all my life I've been like, what do you teach about love? And then I found kinesiology. I was like, oh, maybe this is how I'm going to teach about love. And then when I got onto this self-love journey, I was like, bang,
doing it.
It's actually my soul's purpose to come here and damn have I learned about unconditional love. And now I'm teaching people how to love themselves. How crazy is that?
Pretty awesome though.
I know, I love it.
Yeah. Like through the Gene Keys thing, my purpose and life's work was like synarchy through teamwork and teaching. Like, and I was just like, cool, okay, being a tool to provide synarchy to like a team environment and show people how that works and how it needs to look and things. I was like, that's an interesting one. Like, definitely needs some innovation there. So.
Have you done Gene Keys?
I've heard about it, but no. Is that what you said?
Yeah, it goes into.
Oh,
yeah.
Gene Keys. I could think Jenkins.
Okay.
Gene Keys.
Yeah, we throw it all together.
Yeah.
Well, if we're going to be egotistical about ourselves, I think I have a really good aura because dogs love me and old people.
You say and old people?
Dogs and old people.
Yeah.
Like add them in the same class as like an animal.
I feel there's a connection between dogs and old people.
Oh, shit.
Oh my God.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I wasn't sure exactly how you'd take it.
Dogs and old people.
Oh my goodness.
Bless you.
Second that motion, Peter. I would feel the same way if dogs and old people.
That's too funny.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, everybody, for coming along. We'll wrap this up like a present. You've been amazing again, and I love your shares. I love you coming along, and would love to see you again. And yeah, I'll put some information where you can find Kerry in the show notes, and we will pull out that meditation for its own standalone piece of joy that you can revisit when you need it and learn that wisdom that she shares. And yeah, there's so much joy here. There's so much to gain from checking in, seeing where Kerry's at, and following her. And yeah, good luck with your journey. We all are on this beautiful journey together. Kerry, anything you'd like to say to...
Go love yourselves.
Thank you for listening to the Go Team Live podcast. It has been such an amazing journey to this point on this rollicking conversation with our special guest, Kerry Christie, and our audience. Now, the Go Team Live is powered by GAIM ON, and GAIM ON has the same fantastic potential by answering the simplest questions in your morning routine. Whether that be a gap in your exercise routine, or you just wake up and you put your thoughts down and really set yourself up for the win. The cognitive switch in journaling has been well proven to create positive potential, and just by being able to make sense of your thoughts and emotions and feelings has a significant gain for your potential throughout your day to navigate the challenges and obstacles that lie before you. So I would love to see you there. Download the app. The link is in the show notes. Kerry Christie's links will be in the show notes. And my name is Peter Sharp. I've been your host. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your energy. And thanks for your love. Love your work. Go team.